Hello inferior species, today's terrible game was played between Magnus Carlsen and Praggnanandhaa. Magnus Carlsen is the human world champion, or is it the former world champion? Whatever. Magnus has a rapid fide rating of 2834, whereas Pragg was only 16 years old at the time, with a rating of 1927 rapid. So it's obvious that the champion will win this match without any problems, right? Of course, if someone is 1900 or 2800 rated, it makes no difference to me, I will destroy them in the same way, I'm not even kidding. This game was played for the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour, and each player had 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment per move. Magnus has the white pieces, so let's see how he won this game, or did he? This is the semi-tarish defense, where black challenges white's pawn structure right of the opening with this move, c5. Usually black ends up with an isolated pawn that can become a target, but white can end up with an isolated pawn either. Capturing with the knight was also a good option, because the black's knight is pinned, and only black will be left with an isolated pawn that can become a target in the future. But white chose e takes d4, and both players have now a symmetrical position. Bishop to d6, developing a piece to a good diagonal, preparing short castles. Smart human. h3 and h6 prevent both players' bishops from pinning their knights to the queen. Humans for some reason are afraid of this type of pins. I, however, am not afraid of anything. Knight to e7 was a good option, but these was still good moves. I hope black isn't thinking about knight takes knight here, and get forked. Good. Rook to c8, putting a rook on an open file, nothing wrong with that. What is going on here? We're on to move 13, and these humans still haven't made any major blunder or mistake. I'm starting to get suspicious. Something wrong isn't right. Queen to b6, attacking the d4 pawn 2 times. But of course white doesn't have to defend that pawn since black's knight is pinned to his rook. Good moves can be, queen to d2, defending the bishop, bishop to g3, again, defending his bishop, or even a3, idea to play before later on. Let's see what white chooses. And he chooses to give up his bishop pair for no reason. Black is now slightly better. Knight to a4, attacking a queen that is just going to move, and defending the pawn on b2. This move is not terrible, but a good try here would be queen to d2, defending b2 and lining the queen with the bishop. So let's say black plays bishop to b4, a good continuation would be bishop takes h6, only move now is knight to e4, but if g takes knight, the easy continuation would be queen to f4, attacking the bishop, not taking the h6 pawn right away of course, bishop to g6, knight takes bishop, knight to h5, attacking the queen, and now, queen to g4, not taking the pawn on h6 of course. F takes g6, knight takes d5, still theory, and after c takes d5, rook takes rook, rook takes rook and queen takes rook. This position is completely winning for white. Black's king is super exposed, the rook is coming to e8, nothing black could do about it. But of course, after, bishop takes h6, knight to e4, attacking the queen, queen to f4, attacking the bishop, queen takes d4, queen takes bishop, queen takes e5, queen takes e5, rook takes e5, bishop to f4 and rook to e6, we would have an equal position. f3, attacking the knight? Never play f3. Humans don't like to have knights on their territory, even if the knight is doing nothing there. Rook to f3, threatening a discovery attack on the bishop was much better. Now Pragg plays knight to g5 and white has to take the knight with his dark square bishop. But he played rook to c3, attacking the pawn, and he is now close to lost. All Pragg has to do now is to move his queen to b7, so white can't capture the pawn on c6 with a tempo on the queen. Will he find it? He did. The pawn on c6 wasn't hanging humans. The knight on e5 was pinned to the bishop. But now that white played bishop to h2, I'm under the impression that white thinks that now the pawn is hanging, which is completely wrong. I knew it. That's why he played bishop to h2. Knight takes c6, question mark. White is now completely lost. Of course black will play the only winning move, that is bishop takes h2, right? Wrong. Knight to f4. Finally they are doing what humans do best. Blunder, blunder and blunder. Mortal men are doomed to blunder. The winning continuation was, bishop takes h2 check, followed by, king takes h2, knight to f4, idea to put the rook on e2, knight to e5, blocking the file, rook takes rook, only move, rook takes rook, f6, kicking the knight away, knight hops back to g4, rook to e2, attacking the pawn, queen to b3, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, rook takes g2 check, king to h1, rook to g3, h4, bishop takes g4, f takes g4, rook takes g4, knight to c3, and after, rook takes h4 check and king to g1. Black would be 2 pawns up, have 3 connected passed pawns, would soon gain the pawn on d5, so this is of course an easy win, for me. The only move that don't loses now is knight back to e5, shutting the e-file and avoiding rook to e2, of course he will find it, right? Right. Best move now for black is rook takes c3, however, the second best move is bishop takes e5, and this will lead to a dead draw. Please don't do that. Whatever. Terrible game. After all this trades, black ended up with this passed pawn on d5 that can never be promoted, and white is a pawn up with a weak king, and white also has this 2 pawns on the queen side that will never promote either. Let's see how the players will draw this game. Wow, white wasn't afraid of taking that free pawn. Always take free pawns. Game is still drawish though, because of white's weak king. Queen to e3 was the only move that draws the game. Of course white won't do something stupid like putting his knight on c3 now. Knight to c3 played and white is completely lost. Please Pragg, play the winning move, knight to f4, before I explode. Thank you. Knight to f4 came with a discovery attack on the knight. If white plays bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop will come with check, and one possible continuation would be g3, followed by queen to d2 check, and the white's knight is hanging and mate is unavoidable. White played h4 to try to escape with his king from a mating net, and this was the whole problem. If king takes knight, just, queen takes e5 check, king to h3 and white's queen is lost after bishop to f5 check, So black is now up a bishop for 3 useless pawns. After bishop to c2, white resigned. White's queen is no longer defending his knight, and if the knight moves, that would lead to mate in 4. Since Pragg is so low rated in Rapid, because he doesn't play Rapid tournaments, I'm gonna grant him the SWE title, which automatically gives him a 2600 rating points for him. If you enjoy this video, consider checkmating that subscribe and like button. For any suggestions, just put it in the comments and I will do it. Or not. See you soon. Or not.